I want to thank you all for coming today, and I wish we were not gathered. I am here standing with religious leaders across faith traditions here in Kenosha, and we have more faith leaders who could not be here today but are with us in spirit across many traditions across our interfaith organization. I am the co-chair of the Religious Leaders Caucus of Congregations United to Serve Humanity, or CUSH. I will be reading a statement that we have prepared, and then I will be inviting Rabbi Feingold, the rabbi here at Beth Hallel, to say a few words. At the end of our time together, if any press have questions, we will take those individually afterwards. Last week, the citations charged to a Mr. Jeffrey Kidder involving 23 counts of littering for anti-Semitic leaflet drops in several Kenosha neighborhoods, including multiple schools, were dismissed by the city of Kenosha. These leaflet drops stopped the moment Mr. Kidder was cited until Monday. On Monday morning, only days after his citations were dismissed, a Kenosha neighborhood again woke to find anti-Semitic hate speech leaflets in dozens of their driveways, in the same Ziploc bags, and weighed down with pebbles. We, with Congregations United to Serve Humanity, are advocates of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. We agree that a nation which does not value free speech as an inherent right can succumb to tyrannical leadership and the silenced voices of her citizens, especially the voices of the more marginalized. However, we also believe that hate must be driven out of our communities, and that those who hide behind the First Amendment to spew their hate must be punished. While the First Amendment gives the freedom for any individual to say anything, it also gives everyone the responsibility to speak up when hate and fear-mongering are stirred up in our community, especially when attacking historically marginalized and insulted people like our Jewish neighbors. We believe those who hide in darkness with leaflet drops of hate speech before sunrise, and those who hide behind social media groups to stoke hatred, aim to promote division among us as a community and to distract us from our mission of building justice. We must shine light onto these actions and call them out for what they are: dangerous promotion of rhetoric that has led to lies, ages-old scapegoating tactics, and violent acts throughout history. Given the lack of consequences for these acts, we should not be surprised to now see the reemergence of these hate-filled leaflet drops. And we did, almost immediately. The system has only emboldened those who seek to harm our Jewish neighbors with its inability to stop this. We at CUSH have been in touch with city officials this week, and we have been told that the chances of these citations being upheld through the courts were slim, and that there were other circumstances and facts that needed to be considered by the prosecutors. And while the Kenosha Police Department has been a stalwart ally on this problem, for which we are very thankful, there has been little communication between elected city officials and the impacted groups who are victims of these hateful acts. There has been silence from the city following the dropping of the citations against the person who was arrested. The Anti-Defamation League, the Milwaukee Jewish Federation, and our local rabbi leaders and others in the Jewish community have worked tirelessly on this issue that has affected their communities and their families. They deserve an answer as to how the city will proceed in this ongoing matter. We all deserve an answer and a resolution that falls on the side of justice. But, my neighbors, we cannot wait solely upon our elected officials and political systems to do something. The Jewish community of Kenosha is under attack. Let me say that again. The Jewish community of Kenosha is under attack. It is the responsibility of all faith leaders and all people of faith across the belief systems in Kenosha, and indeed everyone who values a safe and welcoming community for all, to speak out, to stand in solidarity with our Jewish neighbors and drown out these evil words with a voice of love, acceptance, and inclusion. Together, and only together, will we speak the truth that must ring out the clearest, that Kenosha has no room for hate. Thank you, and I hand this over to Rabbi Feingold.
Good morning, everyone, and I echo Pastor Beebe's words. I thank you for being here this morning. You know, it feels like deja vu. Almost exactly 1 year ago, many of us here today were gathered in this same place for the same reason, to stand in solidarity as a Jewish community and with the Jewish community, and to express outrage about anti-Semitic messages being distributed throughout our community. At that time, we did not know who was doing this, and now we do. Unfortunately, we have learned that this individual, who is connected with a nationwide network, will not be held accountable, at least not by city officials or the criminal justice system. But we, as a community of neighbors, we do hold him accountable, along with all others who spew and seek to disseminate hate speech, whether it be online, whether it be on people's property or in schoolyards. He may live in our community, but he is not of our community. He does not share the values of the good people of Kenosha, who are united in declaring that there is no place for hate in Kenosha. Say it with me. There is no place for hate in Kenosha. Our Jewish community is not intimidated by this man. I stand here this morning with Rabbi Tzali Wilshansky from the Chabad community here in Kenosha, and I know I speak for both of us in our communities when I say we are not intimidated by this man and by his behavior. We know that we are strong as a Jewish community. We know that our Jewish people have been through many things like this in the past, and we've survived and thrived. We know that we have the strong support of the Kenosha Police Department, as evidenced today by their presence at this event. And more importantly, we know that we have the support of the interfaith community, also evidenced today by CUSH's leadership in bringing us together, and all of the good clergy people who are standing here behind me, just a small representation of our entire CUSH Religious Leaders Caucus. We will continue to partner with all people of goodwill for the betterment of this community, of all different groups within our community, and who are all proud of its diversity. We declare and will prove together with all of you, there is no place for hate in Kenosha. Yes. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite up Sarah Herwick, who is here representing the Anti-Defamation League out of Chicago. She is the Associate Director of Development there.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I am proud to be here representing ADL Midwest and thank CUSH for organizing this morning's event. At ADL, we have seen a dramatic increase in these types of anti-Semitic incidents in recent years. In fact, 4 of the last 5 years have been the highest total number of anti-Semitic incidents reported to ADL since we began tracking in 1979. White supremacist groups like the Goyim Defense League, whose flyers we are seeing again in Kenosha, are among the most prolific hate groups in the country. We were proud to see Kenosha law enforcement and prosecutors charge the individual responsible for the firing last year, and we were disappointed to see the charges dropped. ADL stands with Kenosha's interfaith community in rejecting this type of hate. Let's be clear, none of this is not normal. It might feel normal based on the last few years, but it's not. And we must fight against any intentional or unintentional attempts to normalize hate and anti-Semitism. The anger, sadness, confusion, helplessness, and even fear that many of us feel today are all reasonable emotions to the current environment. Jews are resilient, and we have been quick to adapt throughout history. Yet at the same time, human beings are not built to withstand this level of sustained daily trauma. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, each of us can do something about it. We are not helpless. We have the power to demand and drive change. Each of us has a responsibility to play a constructive role in the transformational change that is so desperately needed in our world today. Each of us has the power to speak out against hate, respond to misinformation with facts, show strength by not speaking out when there is an act of anti-Semitism, but whenever someone is targeted because of their identity. Kenosha's interfaith community embodies this commitment to the fight against hate and intolerance. And I'm so proud to be here representing ADL Midwest and stand with each of you. Thank you.
No? Okay. This concludes our program, and again, we invite the press to come up and ask questions. Thank you all for being here.